Well, good morning, YouTube. Alright, so today we are going to make something totally new together. We're going to can it. I'm pretty excited. I've never made this before, but I've been working on collecting my peels for this for quite a while. This is a recipe I got from my girlfriend Nada, Canadian Patriot, 1973, here on YouTube. She makes this a lot. She absolutely loves it. She uses it on pancakes, biscuits, bread. She pours it in her tea. She absolutely loves this. So I figured when I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to make a lot all at once, or as much as I can. And what you basically need for this is, again, using what most would consider scraps. Okay, so these are all, you guys can see that, apple peels. I have peels of green apples, red apples, pears, you name it, I have it in here. So, I've got a couple little bags here that I kind of threw in when I just, peeled a couple apples. There's some more apple shreddings there. So I have quite a bit here. So I'm going to use my big canning pot, okay, to do this. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to rinse this out, even though it's clean. I'm funny about stuff. I just like to make sure that it's like super clean. Before I use anything. Alright, so I have my pot here. And I'm going to get you up on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill my pot with all of my apple and pear shavings. These are all just the skins. So anytime you're making apple pie, or like when I was actually making and canning apple slices, I saved all of the peels. The goal really is to never waste anything if you can help it. And this one has some pears in it. That's what the green is. Now, I've been keeping these frozen, and finally my husband was like, you need to do something with the peels. Because my bags were taking over the freezer. So, I figured, oh, it's got to be time. Got to be time to make something with it. Alright. Oh my gosh, it actually smells amazing. These have been frozen. You can throw them in frozen. I literally had no room left in my freezer, so I took them out and put them in the fridge overnight. But they're still really frozen. If you can see that, they've got ice on them still. So this is what we're going to do. So we have all our scraps in a pot. Now I'm going to fill this with cool water, and I'm going to fill it to where it covers. Honestly, I'm probably going to fill it to this first line here. And when I get it all filled with water, I will be back and show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so I actually filled it a little higher than that line because I have just so much here. So you'll also notice that I have the actual cores to my apples in here. So this literally is anything and everything that you have. I think this one might be one to a pear. So save all of your garbage. These big pieces here are pear. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of separating this out here because it was all kind of frozen together. So this is a big ball. It has to get unfrozen. So it doesn't matter. Once it starts warming up, this is all going to loosen up. Let's see if I can just kind of help it along here. So you're going to put all of this in a pot. I'm going to cover it in water. You might not have as many peels as I do. And we are going to put it on the stovetop, and we are going to bring this to a boil, and we are going to... Of course, that's my washer. Sorry, I'm washing cloth diapers this morning. We are going to put this on the stovetop. We're going to bring this to a boil, and we're going to simmer this for 2 hours. And then once that is done, I will be back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, guys, so here we are. We've brought this now up to just about boiling. And you can see that a lot of that vibrant color of the reds and the greens has disappeared a bit. You can see that. They've gone pretty muted here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn down this heat just a bit. And I'm going to let this simmer for 2 hours. Now I have my lid on. I don't think you would probably need to have your lid on, but I'm going to keep my lid on just to kind of keep the heat in. My kitchen's pretty cold today. I'll tell you, it smells like apple cider in my kitchen. It's phenomenal. So I'm going to set the timer now. We're going to let this simmer for 2 hours before the next step. But you'll see here I've got my rings and lids in a pot ready to go. All of these have been washed, and I will sterilize them when we get closer to the timing of straining this out and making the actual honey part. Taking photos as I go for my blog, along with my Flickr and my Facebook pages. So we are in the full swing of things here. Alright guys, I'm going to let this just simmer up for 2 hours. I'm just going to stir it occasionally just to make sure that those fruit peels are nice and loose. And when we're on to the next step, I will be back and show you what we're going to do. Okay guys, so I've actually let mine simmer for 3 hours instead of 2, just because I had so much of it. And I really wanted to make sure that all of this was really cooked down and cooked down well. And this is the end result. This is what it looks like. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to shut this off. And I'm going to go over to my sink and I'm going to prepare to strain this. Now remember, when you strain this, you want to remember to put a pot under your strainer so you're not straining the juice into the sink, because it's the juice that we want. So I'm going to get a strainer out. I'm going to put some cheesecloth. I think I have a piece set aside for this. And we're going to strain all these fruit skins out, along with the cores and the seeds. And we're going to end up with the juice. Now it's going to be important not to squeeze out the juice out of the peels. Nada said if you squeeze it, we're going to end up with cloudy syrup, which we don't want. So we're going to be gentle with this. But I'm going to go over to the sink and prepare it, and we're going to give this a good strain. Okay guys, so now we're going to strain this, and since my pot is so big, I'm just going to start pouring the juice until I can kind of get this half emptied. Now what I have here, just so you can see, is you don't want to forget to put an actual pan, otherwise you're going to strain all the juice down your sink before you realize it, that you made a mistake. Catch yourself just so you don't do this, because sometimes you can even do this when you make chicken broth or turkey broth. So you want a pot to capture all your juice, and what we're doing is we're straining the juice through a layer of cheesecloth, and I have a stainless steel strainer, and we're going to capture all those peels. We're going to make sure that we don't manipulate this too much, because we do not want our syrup cloudy, so we don't want to squeeze our fruit at all. We just want to let the juice kind of flow through the cheesecloth nicely here, gently. I'm going to just aim that down. You guys can see. And until I get my, in fact, I think my canning ladle actually works better. Because my canning ladle is much bigger. Love this ladle. Got this ladle at Walmart, and it's wonderful. Get out as much juice. I'm telling you, my house smells amazing. It smells like apple cider in my house. And now I'm just going to kind of lift this up once in a while just to let that juice strain through. I'm going to have a lot of juice here, so I might actually need 2 pans, or actually pour it back so I can pour it back into this when I'm done. I had a lot of fruit here, and the amount of juice that you get is really going to depend on the amount of fruit that you have, fruit peels, how much you cover them, how long you simmer them. Like I said, I simmered mine for 3 hours, just because at the 2-hour stage I just felt like I just had so much that I just wanted to kind of make sure I cooked it out as much as I could. I'm just going to let that, you can see it's already filling up quickly. Alright, so I went ahead and I added a new pan underneath here, another stock pot, because we already have one whole pot worth. So, a lot of juice here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this one up now. And I went ahead and I threw out all those peels that remained. And this just smells incredible. Okay, so I think now we're at the point I can go ahead and take this. Strain a lot of that juice. Go through. Man, does this smell good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and plop in the rest here. Definitely want to try to get out as much peel as I can so we can give this pot a good rinse. Okay, and we've got another full pot here. Kind of let all that juice drain out here. Okay, so now what I want to do is go ahead and give this a good rinse out. But there's no peels left in here, or no pieces, no chunks. Make sure it's all clean. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up with the juice that we drained. So I've got 2 big stock pots worth here. There's 1. And here is 2. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this back on my stove and I'm going to bring this back to a boil and simmer it down until half of it goes away. Alright, so not sure how long it's going to take, but I'm going to set the timer and we're going to figure it out together. Alright guys, let me get this back on the stove. Let me get this on the heat and bring it up to a boil. Okay guys, here it is. It's back on the stove. And I am just going to bring this back to a boil. Then we are going to simmer it until it reduces half of the amount. Okay, now how am I going to figure out half the amount? Well, I'm going to take my little handy dandy canning measuring stick here, and I am going to grab a Sharpie. And I'm going to dip, actually I'm going to use the square part. I'm going to just dip this in, pull it out, and I'm just going to make a little tiny mark right there. You see it? And so when I get halfway to the halfway point on this, I'm going to know that it's good to go and we're ready to do this. So even if you don't want to re-dip that, you can dip a spoon and measure it, but at least I have a measurement of approximately how much it's going to be when we reduce this in half. I will tell you, I think the camera, I don't know if the camera really picks up the color as much as I'd like it to, but it looks exactly like apple cider. It smells just like apple cider. So it's beautiful. It smells amazing. My house smells incredible right now. It looks beautiful, and I think we're on the right track. So I'm going to reduce this, bring this back to a boil, reduce it to half, and once that happens, I will come back and show you guys the next step. Alright guys, so this has reduced by half. I'm going to move this stuff over here. So what we're going to do, I'm actually going to scoot this pot over. We have to measure this. Now, I went ahead and reduced this. It's by half, if you can see. This is reduced by half. We're going to measure to see how many cups of this wonderful juice that we actually have, because we're going to add equal amounts of sugar. Okay? And we're actually going to make almost like a apple pear syrup, simple syrup with it. Alright, we're almost to 4 cups. And we are at 4 cups there. So, dump it in there. Okay, now we are at 8 cups. Okay. 12 cups. Alright, so this is 16. Okay, so we have 16 in here, and now we're going to have to fill this one up a bit. 4 cups. And 8.
Might be another cup.
Okay. Don't want to throw anything away.
Actually, 2 cups.
2 cups, perfect. So 10 cups in this one.
What do you want to do this? You want me to take this away?
Thank you, baby. Alright, so in here we've got the 16 cups. So we're going to start with this one, and then I will make the other pot with 10 cups in it next. What we're going to do is we're going to add equal amounts of sugar to this. So 16 cups of sugar. I hope it all fits in here. In fact, I think I'm going to take out 2 cups. That's what I'm going to do, just to make sure. So I'm going to pour 2 cups in here, because that would just make more sense, wouldn't it, Heather? Alright, so there's 2 cups taken out. Actually, I'm going to take out 3 cups, and then that way I've got 13 cups and 13 cups, and then that way it's just even. So, you get 13 cups. Okay, so now that I have all that figured out, we have to add 13 cups of sugar into this, alright? So, we're going to put this on and get this to boil again, and we're going to add 13 cups. So, okay, last cup, 13. I'm going to stir this in. Now that might seem like a lot of sugar, and you know what? It is a lot of sugar. But you're not going to be eating this. This is more like a pancake syrup, if you will. You're not going to be eating a whole jar of this. This is going to be drizzled on your biscuits, drizzled on your pancakes, maybe a teaspoon in your tea. So it's not going to be something that you're just going to be drinking a whole half pint to yourself. Okay, so I'm going to keep stirring this. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and when this starts boiling, we're going to boil it for 3 minutes. Once that 3 minutes is done, it will be ready to can up. Alright guys, I'll be back. Okay guys, I just wanted to bring you back really quickly. It has not come to a boil yet, but I want you just to see if you can tell that this is really starting to clear up and become transparent. This is the part where, you know, Nita warned us, don't squeeze the fruit because you don't want cloudy syrup. And I don't know if you can tell that that is really starting to clear up. Now, I put the pot of the other 13 cups behind it, and you can tell how milky that looks. This one really does resemble apple cider. I think on camera it kind of looks like like tea with a little bit of milk added to it. But I just wanted to kind of quickly show you guys the difference so you can tell the changes and what it's going to look like after you add the sugar and after you start bringing this back up to another boil. So I'm just kind of waiting it out here. My canner's still, you know, is still waiting to boil too, so I'm in no rush. My jars are in the oven, they're sterilizing. So I'm just kind of waiting for my canner to be ready, and I'm waiting for this to come to a boil. I'm going to time it for 3 minutes, and it'll be ready. But I just thought it was important to show you guys the difference between the before and after here as this starts to really clear up and become transparent. Okay, we are at a boil here, and we are timing for 3 minutes here. We are ready to can this up. Okay, so we're going to fill this to 1/4 inch headspace, and it is clear and it is absolutely beautiful. I tasted it. It very much tastes like a, well, mine has pear in it, so mine has a bit of a pear flavor to it, but it's appley, pear. It doesn't have any lemon in it, but it definitely tastes like a really, like an appley simple syrup, I guess you would say. It's going to be lovely on pancakes and biscuits, I will tell you that much. I'm really excited to actually taste it and make something with it. So, first, we get out my vinegar. Alright, so I'm gonna dip in my vinegar. The rim. Put a lid on it. And a ring. And there's a towel here. Do it finger tight. Jar holder, there you have it. You guys see how beautiful it is? Absolutely see-through, transparent. You see my hand through it. It's a lovely yellow color for sure. Absolutely beautiful. So let me get this into my canner, which hasn't boiled quite yet. Right? Nope, it's just starting to boil. That's good. Perfect timing. Get out 2 jars. Let's see if we can't get this canned up a little bit faster. One might have been overfilled just a little. If that happens, just take a spoon. Spoon it right out. Easy peasy. Dip in our vinegar. Just go around the rim. Canning so easy, guys. For those of you out there that want to give it a try, this would be a great newbie project to do. Something that's pretty much free. I mean, you know, all it's really costing you is the sugar, right? But you can buy that in a 25-pound bulk bag for 10 bucks. So it's not going to cost you that much. If you're using peels, ignore my dryer. My squeaky dryer. I'm so immune to it. It's probably been driving you guys crazy, and I didn't even recognize it. I'm just so used to it making noise. But yeah, if you are a newbie to canning and you just don't want to waste a lot of money in case you screw something up and you're worried, this is a great recipe to try, because really you're just using your peels and sugar. That's it. So if you feel like you screwed it up, nothing's going to waste. There you have it. Look at how beautiful that is, you guys. This is lovely. And this is going to be such a great Christmas present for the teachers, for management here in the community that I live in, mailman, you know, anyone you can think of. I'm going to give it to the moms that carpool, are in our carpool group. And like I said, I'm going to give it with a pint or maybe a quart of pancake mix, which all they have to do is add equal parts water to the mix. And then they will have a syrup to go with it. And it'll be a great breakfast gift. And all it costed me was some sugar. Some sugar and some thyme. Alright, so let's get these rims cleaned up. I don't want to make this video super long, so I know you guys like to watch the canning process though, so I don't want to rob you too much, but I also don't want to make this super long for you guys, so I'll just can these last 2 here with you, and I will keep going. And once I get my canner full, I'll come back and show you. I've got my lids and rings in simmered water. They're really hot. Okay. Again, beautiful, lovely. And we are going to process these for 15 minutes once we get this canner full. So let me get working on that, and I will be back and I'll show you guys what the canner looks like all full. Okay guys, so I have 10 jars in here. I'm going to do a set of 10, and then I'm going to can up the other set of 10, and I'll at least have 20 half pints, which I think will take up one bowl of this. And then I think I'm going to can up some pints for us. So I'm going to go ahead and lower that down. All right. It's already up to a boil. So we're going to go ahead and cover and we're going to process this for 15 minutes. And when 15 minutes is up, I will be back and show you guys what it looks like. Okay guys, so this is all done. I'm going to shut off my timer. I'm going to shut off the heat. Move the lid. And pull these up and out. Guys, so we are going to go ahead and pull these out of the canner. Hubby is washing the other jars for me. And hopefully you guys can see this. I'm just going to set them right back here. Oh, we have one that fell. No worries. And they're already clinking and popping away. The house is a madhouse, so you're going to hear kids. You're going to hear the baby, you're going to hear guitar, you're going to hear my hood vent. I have the laundry going. It's dinner time and I'm still canning. So that's on hold. The house, I tell you. I started canning and the house was like super cold. Yeah. I actually had to put the lid on the canner when I was making them apples because it was so cold in here. Now my house is so toasty. Put the lids and the rings in there, man? Yeah, I'll rinse them off real good with clear water and then dump them in there. Thank you. Okay, so I've turned back on my canner on high. I'm gonna load it back up. When I load my canner, I load opposite ends first. That way it kind of keeps a balance. Nothing kind of falls over. It gets heavy on one side. Sometimes on these little jars, you kind of have to balance them on that rack. So now, I'm going to lower this. Okay. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to wait till this boils, because you can't start processing until it's at a rapid boil. And as soon as I bring this back up to a boil, I'll process that for 15 minutes. Alright guys, so I'm bringing out the last 5 pints out of the canner. I have a towel covering those just to kind of keep the draft off. And alright, so pull these out. What are you doing over there, monkey? Stop doing that. Don't let him do that. Don't hit. Don't punch. No punching. Okay. And go ahead. Add the remaining pints. I did half pints and I did pints. And the last one. Now, I'm going to show you, because I had almost a pint full, but I was a bit short. Just enough to tick you off. I couldn't process it, but this is going to go in the fridge. So I talked to Nita, because I've never made this before, so learn from my mistakes, okay? And it's not really that it's a mistake. It's just that this is a little on the thinner side, if you want to call it. It's not a thick syrup. So the boiling time on the 3 minutes is really kind of a guesstimate. You know, it all depends on your fruit. It depends on how much water you have. So Nita said go ahead and add more time. So don't boil it just for the 3 minutes, unless you want it thin like this. Now, for me, personally, I like it like this. This is going to be perfect to add to my tea. I really want to add it. I really did this because I really want to add it to my sleepy time tea. Instead of using sugar, I can use this apple pear syrup to go with it. I'm a big tea drinker, especially at night. And I also did it for gifts just to go with a pancake mix. But I'll talk about that in another video. If you want it thicker than this, then go ahead and boil it for longer than 3 minutes. Boil it for 5, boil it for 10. Boil it until you get a consistency that you like. If you decide to add pectin to it, just know that pectin can turn this into a jelly. And in fact, if you want to make apple pear jelly, you can do this exact process, except go ahead and add pectin at the same time you go ahead and you add your sugar. So it really is all up to you. But mine is on the thinner side. If you do not want it this thin, and it is thin, then go ahead and boil it down for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, until you get a consistency that you're happy with. Me personally, this does not bother me at all. Like I said, I'm using it for my tea. I'm also giving this as gifts. If yours ends up being a little too thin after the fact, you can go ahead and put this in, before you go to use it. Say you're going to use it on a Sunday morning, you can go ahead and put it in a saucepan and bring it to a boil and thicken it up that way too. So, all up to you. That one is going to go in my, I can finally turn off that fan. Mine is going to go right into the fridge. It's cooled down now. This one's pretty cool. And I can't wait to try it. I'm going to try it tonight in my, like I said, in my sleepy time tea. But just to scan up, actually I'm going to take you off the tripod so you can see that I was able to get 10 pints and 20 half pints out of this. So I'm really thrilled because, to be honest, it only cost me about $3 in sugar to make all this. And this is made with garbage scraps. This is made from stuff that you would throw in the trash. So that alone to me is pretty amazing, and I feel like already I've beat the system. So like I said, this has many uses. Put it in tea, put it in coffee, use it on pancakes, use it on biscuits. You're probably going to want it a little thicker if you're going to do it that way. But you know, it's all up to you. So I hope you enjoyed this. This was fun. This was the first time, like I said, I've made this, and this was really exciting. It is a long process, so just know that this isn't something that you can just do in an hour or two and be done. I think total to process all these jars, the entire process has taken me about 8 hours to do from start to finish. So keep that in mind when you make this, that it might take you a little longer to do. Now, I had a lot of fruit and I had a lot of syrup. So your batch might not be this large, but just know that it is a bit of a longer process to do. But I tell you, I feel thrilled. And I can't wait till you come in here, Matt, and see how many jars I got out of this.
It looks like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, out of garbage, you guys. And this is trash. So
No trash.
no trash. So Nita said she does this with onion as well. It makes onion bouillon with it. So I'm going to try that once I get my onion collection up. There's my freezer. I'm just starting now to recollect my onions because I used it last time. I used it all up on stock. So I've got some onions and stuff going, saving. So these are all breadcrumbs, but yeah, once I have enough, I will be back and I will be trying that recipe. So I've got quite a mess on my hands now to kind of clean up, and this video to edit for you guys. But if you give this a try, you know, let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you liked it. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up, guys, if you liked it. All right, peace in and peace out, YouTube. Talk to you later.